Hello and welcome to another Schola Progenium battle report. Today I'm facing off against Lewis. He's got his death guard just over there in the corner. And we're playing 2,000 points. Now we are sort of semi-training for the Warlord Trios tournament at the moment. And this is not a tournament list by any means, but Lewis has his tournament list over here. And I have about 20 lists on my battle scribe, and I was like, oh, I'll just use a list written on my battle scribe, flick through it, and I went, ooh, Dread hybrid list. And I had this sort of vague memory of being sat on the sofa sort of late at night after one too many glasses of wine and sort of thinking, oh, I need to make a list where dreads, I get my fun using my dreads, but they're properly supported. But then upon setting the list out, the army out on the battlefield, I've realised I've no Dorado Dreadnought. What was I thinking? But anyway, here we have it. So I'll take you through the list in a bit more detail, and then we'll get onto the accursed Nergal. And I have a really bad track record of dying against the Nergal with my dreadnoughts in any form. So this will be a fun list. Me and Lewis have been drawing flat out. We must have played about 6 games in a row where we've drawn. So where one of us needs to win and one of us needs to lose today. So in a bit more detail, in terms of my HQs, I have a captain with Power Sword and Mastercrafted Bolter. I have another captain with Thunderhammer and Jetpack, and he has the Wings of Sanguinius, and he's also got a 5-up Invuln. Then I've got my Fiston, I've got a Lieutenant with Mastercrafted Bolter and I believe Power Sword, and I have a Librarian Dreadnought. In terms of psychic powers, I'm going to take Wings on this guy, and Quickening or whatever, the one that makes you fast, more attacks, and I'll take Wings, Quickening and Unleash Rage on Mephiston. So that's my HQs. In terms of troops, I have 3 units of 5 Tactical Marines, bare bones. 10 of those will be going in a Storm Raven, which is with Multi-Melter and Last Cannon, and the Sponsons, Hurricane Bolter Sponsons on the side. Then I also have a Razorback, and that's got twin heavy bolters for the other 5-man squad, so everyone's loaded up into armour. In terms of the other dreads, I have a Support Dread with Last Cannon and Missiles, I have a Contemptor Dread with the Carrier's Assault Cannon, and I have a Furioso Dread, and I believe I've given him Magna Grapple, so it might be Smoke Launcher, so I'll tell you that when we get playing. And then here I have the Support element, which is 3 Predators, all with Predator autocannons and heavy bolters, so they're bringing all the DACA today. So we'll see how this list plays out. It should be a really fun list to use. Lewis brings some dreads in his army as well, so Clash of the Dreadnought should be really cinematic and really fun. So we'll see what the Nergal have brought today. So here we have 2,000 points worth of Death Guard, if Lewis, you want to take us through it?
Yep, so the first detachment is a battalion with a Sorcerer, Plasma Pistol and Force Sword, and a Chaos Lord standard. They come with the 3 squads of Plague Marines, all squads are 5. 2 squads have got 2 Plasmas in, and the other squad has 2 Blight Launchers, and the 4th troop is the Poxwalkers. Okay. The second battalion I have is, I forget the name of it, but it's +1 CP. It's this guy, the Demon Prince. He's got the Separating Plate, Relic and Wings. He is with the Crawlers and the Drones, which just come standard.
Okay.
And then the last is the Demon Prince here, which is the Warlord. He's got Arc Contaminator and Fulgaris's Helmet for his second Relic. And he comes with the 2 Contemptors, which have both got the Butcher Cannons and Havoc Launchers, and the Hellbrute with Last Cannon Missile.
Very nice. So hard-hitting list here, very solid.
I hope so.
Tough to crack. So we'll see what happens. We're playing a mission from the Warlord. I think it's an outdated rules pack, but the Warlord Tournament rules pack. So it's ETC, and it is Purge the Alien and Crusade. So you'll get kill points. So we're playing kill points with a maximum difference of 9, and then we'll have 5 objectives on the field, each worth 3 points at the end of the game. So no scoring at the end of every turn, we're going old school. But of course we'll use standard chapter approved setup rules. So here we have the field of battle after deployment. The Blood Angels facing off against the Nergal. Now I've actually gone for a bit of a defensive setup, to be honest, because I know Lewis basically won. I won the roll off for placing objectives, which meant that we have 5 objectives on this, so I placed the last objective down because I placed the first and last. And what that meant was I got to pick side, but then Lewis placed his whole army down and should go first unless I steal initiative. So I was able to counter deploy, and I saw that he put these guys, and I fear these guys here, so I thought, right, I'll just shove the majority of my army over in this corner. So I've castled up, and I've got my captain and lieutenant with the power swords and mass-crafted bolters just there, and they are with 3 predators. The Razorback's actually out of range of the buff, but who cares? In this little castle here, and then this dreadnought is just looking at the Nergal lines over there, and he's also just within 6 inches of both of those. I've got my 2 combat characters up front here, but they aren't the closest because they're only set up about 12-15 inches on by my estimates. So I've got my Contemptor Dread here with his feet in cover, so he should hopefully be in cover as he moves up this side of the board towards the Nergal. And I've got my 5 infantry in there. I've then got a Furioso Dreadnought and 10 infantry in my Storm Raven, which I call the Spear of Sanguinius or something like that. I have done historically. So we've got an objective here, we've got an objective here, we've got an objective in the centre, we've got an objective on this side of the board, and we also have an objective all the way over here. So I'm not covering that objective at the moment, but Lewis has to come to me. So I'm going to hopefully dacre him apart as he gets closer, and then we'll see if I can survive. Because I haven't got any Death Company, no Sanguinary Guard, no Terminators, none of my staples. It's a very different list. But this is actually how I used to play a lot of the time. I am a mech head at heart. I have about 22 Predator chassis in terms of Razorbacks, Rhinos, Predators, that kind of thing. So I'm a proper mech head. I have a full armoured company for my Blood Angels, so it's always nice to dust them off. I don't use the autocannons very often, but they are nice with the flat 3 damage. And then let's have a look at the Nergal Deployment. So he's got his Butcher Cannons here, just toes in cover behind these pillars, so he's got a nice cover from my Predators. He's got his Captain there, which obviously going to give them reroll 1s, and presuming that guy's within range of the Captain as well. Then he's got his Nergal Marines just holding this little fort with this little objective here, and then he's got his armoured assault contingent, his mechanised infantry just set up on the centre to right. So I know well that these guys speed up the board and just smash stuff apart, and they are unrelenting because they are very, very hard to kill off. So it's castle versus castle, assault versus assault, evenly matched forces, very cool list match-off. Sort of looks really nice, doesn't it, with the Predators versus the Predators and all that. A lot of heavy armour on the board, so I'm going to roll to see if I can steal. Now Lewis says I stole last time we played, but that was off camera, so we'll see if I can pull off another 6 in a row. And it is a 4. So Lewis, you'll be going first, so let's see what happens after Nergal, turn 1. So it's been a very interesting first start. The Nergal have been rolling super hot, and yet came so close to getting what they wanted, but just not quite. So basically, he ran a lot of the infantry just over here, and towards here and up, just towards the Blood Angels lines, taking control of the centre of the board. He moved his 2 drones up in front of a Prince, so that's some really heavy hitting little sort of unit coming towards my lines, but they're out of range with everything against the Storm Raven. Then, because of my deployment, Butcher Cannons were out of range of my Predators because they're only 36 inch range, which is something I didn't know. And I asked it, I didn't know before the game started, but then as soon as I found out, that's when I picked for my Predators here. So they could only really reach the Contemptor and the Razorback. Now, he opted to shoot my Razorback, and he did absolutely amazing with his hits and wounds, but then I managed to make a load of saves against the Butcher Cannons. The next one fired off, and he rolled really badly, but I didn't save the 1 wound that went through, and overall he did only 4 wounds with the Butcher Cannons or something like that. And then his last cannon missile launcher fired in and did 6 wounds. He missed with the missile, hit and got through with the last cannon. So in the end, he was on 9 wounds until I think he did 5 wounds to the last cannon, wasn't it? And then something like that. I ended up on 9 wounds, so he was 1 wound away. And none of his other stuff could shoot because it had either advanced or it was out of range or it was blocked by the central bit of line of sight. That's sort of covering him. He's moving up that flank of the table, but it's also blocking him from shooting. So then he moved over here. He fired, and he already cast in his psychic phase Prescient, so +1 to hit. So he's hitting my Storm Raven on 3s. So he first of all shot his 3 melts at Storm Raven. He's got 3 hits, 3 wounds through, and did 11 damage to the Storm Raven. He then fired 3 missiles, got 2 hits, 1 wound, but the Storm Raven saved it. Oh no, you did. You got 1 wound through. I saved 1 went through or something like that. And ultimately, he only did 2 more wounds to me. So the Storm Raven remains alive, smoking and damaged, but alive on 1 wound, as does the Razorback. So he's done a hell of a lot of damage. He's really hit my lines hard, but he's not actually taken anything off the table, which removes the chance of him getting first strike, which is to kill a unit in your first turn. So it's on to the Blood Angels. We've taken a Withering Hail of Fire, but now it's time to strike back with the Predators and other things too. Fire over there, man. So the Blood Angels steamed into a great first turn, although taking many sacrifices on the road, which is pretty usual for us, just like Sanguinius, the most beloved of the Emperor's sons. Anyway, so getting sidetracked there. So essentially I jumped my 5 guys, even though we don't need objectives till the last turn, so I jump them forward. Probably shouldn't have done because it puts me within rapid fire range of some of his stuff, but from this Razorback onto that objective, I should have kept them back there. That was an oversight. The Razorback with 1 wound moved up, the Contemptor moved up, Livy Dread moved up. Oh yeah, that's it, they're protecting him. And my Storm Raven, because it's on 1 wound, I thought I'll hop out before I'm blown out. So 5 jumped from sideways onto that objective, and 5 jumped sideways onto that objective. So that was, and then my Captain moved to about here, Mephi moved to about here, and the Furioso leapt out because he was underneath the Razorback and got to about a 7-inch charge away from the Bloat Drones over there, because he moved 10 inches. So then I opened up with my shooting. The Predators opened up first, and I got a lucky kill with a bolter because they had 2 up save with a 5 up invuln. Sprayed a heavy bolter into them and got a kill with my first autocannon, and 3 kills on one of Lewis's Contemptor Dreadnoughts. The next one just totally failed with his autocannon. He was shooting over, and Lewis just made all his invuln saves, so just done. That was that. I got like 2 wounds through. The next Predator, I should say, he generated 6 shots. He got a 5 and a 6. He got a 5 and a 6. This guy generated 5 shots and actually managed to put 3 wounds through on the final Contemptor. Lewis decided to command point 1, so he eventually was down to 4 wounds because I'd got, he was down to 1 wound left, was he? Because I put 3 through. Then this guy fired off his last cannon and melt. I thought I'll target, so not this guy, so to speak, the glorious Dreadnought over here, fired his last cannon and melted at the 1 wound Contemptor just because I thought I really need him dead, and delivered, blew him up, but he did not explode, sadly. Then the Storm Raven had flown up into a suicide charge here, but I actually miscalculated because his base was within 6 inches of this combat when it went on. So I thought, if he explodes, if one of Lewis's, what I wanted to do was blow up one of his floaters, and because I know they explode on a 4 up, and I thought Lewis might even be tempted to blow one up guaranteed with the command point, that would do a mortal wound to my Storm Raven, which would in turn blow up, and all these units would be within 6 inches. So I did a suicide charge with my Spear of Sanguinius. However, unfortunately, I miscalculated because by the time these guys had piled in and done some combat and struck, they were all exposed as well. And ultimately, there was a chain reaction of explosions, which killed, I think, a couple of guys from this squad, which was good, and did a couple of wounds to your Prince, which was good. But in return, Mephi died. The Dreadnought went on to only 5 wounds. He'd taken a little bit from combat. and my captain's only on 1 wound. I haven't been making those feel no pain, sadly. But that being said, the combat phase was absolutely excellent. As you'll notice, Lewis is missing 2 floaters and a demon prince. I didn't do the 2d6 to charge because I was only 6 inches away, and I declared a charge against both of his floaters and the prince, but I could only reach with the charge itself 1 floater. I rolled a 6, and I thought I'll re-roll it, and I got a 5, but that was enough to get him in. So then I sent this guy in behind and Mephi in behind on a 10-inch charge. So that's the other thing. Mephi had done a wound to himself on perils. He actually got double perils, but I spent a command point to re-roll one of the ones, so he got double one in psychopaths and failed to get anything off. So Mephi really struggled this turn and then died in a fire explosion, so he's really not done well, sadly. But this guy rolled, I spent 2 command points to give him D3 extra attacks, got 2 extra attacks, so he had 8 attacks on the charge, and he just flattened the demon prince, 15 wounds through, his feel no pain saved him, and then Lewis struck back, did a couple of wounds to this guy, and then I struck his bloat drone and flattened that as well at the end of combat, and my Furioso had killed the bloat drone that he was into. So essentially the captain just piled in 3 inches of the prince, killed him, that guy killed the bloat drone he was in combat with, this guy struck again because he declared against all 3. So that was amazing. He absolutely tore apart that flank and secured the push on these objectives over here. It's a big unit that Lewis frequently uses to push on my lines to cover his advance with his main force, and it's dealt with. But I'm on 3 wounds left with the Furioso, 1 with the captain. They are certainly doomed men as they're facing off against all of this. So let's see what Death Guard can do in their turn 2. And we're going to do command points at the end, I think. We'll work out kill point. Oh, Lewis didn't get a kill point, we'll just work out now. And I got none for those guys, they failed past the battle shock, but is this 2 separate units?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So 4 kill points. The Blood Angels are off to an excellent start on the purge, the alien element of this combined. Oh, and Lewis has a Storm Raven because he gets it because it exploded off his dude. So it's 4-1 with first strike to me because I killed a unit in my first turn. So 5-1. It's going to be a max of 9 difference for kill points. You just need to hold all the objectives, Lewis, and you'll be fine. Right, Death Guard, turn 2. Let's go. So the Death Guard have had an extremely effective second turn. So they started off by smiting the captain. They got 3 wounds through, and I actually got 2 5s, and I decided to use my last command point. I thought, whatever, the best I'll get a save in the shooting base is like a 4 up anyway for what he's going to shoot at, I predict. So I rolled the 5 up, but I failed it, so the captain died. And then Lewis tried to cast -1 to hit on them, but he failed. And he tried to cast +1 for them to hit, and again he failed. So the warp is very weak in this area, clearly, because Mephiston messed up, or maybe Mephiston used it all up with his double his double perils, perhaps, who knows. But either way, so bad psychic phase for the demons. They then shot to death with the 2 what are they called? Blight throwers or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Blight launchers. They shot to death the Furiosa Dreadnought, so they cleared up on this flank. Then predictably, he moved these guys up here. He shot the first squad and got 3 wounds through on my tacticals with plasma, but I got 2 6s, so only 1 died. But then he did the same again with these guys, spent a command point to make sure he had 4 wounds. I got no 6s, and the remaining 4 were just vaporised, so really nice shooting from here. Then he fired a load of shots from these guys, missiles into the Dread under here, and did 2 wounds, and melters into these guys, got 2 wounds through, but I saved 1 on a 6, so 2 up to 6 up, because -4. So he also finally fired the missile launcher, he fired the butcher cannons, and these guys collectively split his fire into the 1 wound Razorback and the Contemptor that was on this flank, and he killed that stuff off as well. So anything that was basically closer to him than this guy got flattened. He's really cleared up the centre ground, so he's controlling the centre of the board. But I do have my firepower castle here, and I am controlling these 2 objectives. He's pushing onto me, but I am controlling them. So Blood Angels have some serious work to do. Their combat characters are all spent. Command points wise, I'm used up, and Lewis has 4 left. So we'll see, and Lewis has also got a fair few kill points that turn, so I think because he's also got my Warlord, he's on Contemptor for 1, Razorback for 2, Mephiston for 3, Troops for 4, Stormraven for 5, Warlord for 6. So I think you're on 6 points, but we'll be able to work it out off the list at the end. But I think Nergal have taken a slight lead there. I got First Strike, he's got Warlord. This Demon Prince is his Warlord here, the one with the sort of circular sword disc. So I'll go for Blood Angels, turn 2 now. So the Blood Angels really struggling there in their second turn. So overall I started shooting with these guys over here, but they just couldn't roll the shots. 2 of them generated 3 shots, 1 generated 4, so balancing out was my good first turn. And then I just basically missed, I didn't wound with anything. I think Lewis ended up only having to take 1 save, never mind Feel No Pains, on these guys over here. But overall we did 3 wounds to them with one autocannon shot slammed through with no Feel No Pains being successful. Then all the heavy bolters joined in on this squad over here and managed to kill 2 because I think they failed 3 armor saves and got Feel No Pain. This guy failed his psychic phase. I've just been literally struggling with the psychic. As I said, the strength of the warp is not in our favour here. The Nergal's power is strong in this fiery world, but essentially didn't cast wings, so I couldn't get up to these guys. I really wanted to just chop into the meat of Lewis's ability to control objectives there. So that sadly didn't come off. However, the Dreadnought is having a good day today. He fired off into these guys and he hit and wounded with his last cannons and his missile, and essentially down to the wound blew 1 up. These guys passed their Feel No Pain on their mortal wound. This guy took 1. Prince took 1, so he's now taking 3 explosions. He's just having a really shitty day. And these guys passed their Feel No Pain, and this squad lost 1. So that explosion worked in my favour, but yeah, a very blunted Blood Angel's turn. Just couldn't get my assault off because then I charged him with these guys. Lewis failed to kill me with Overwatch. He got 1 hit but failed to wound, even with Overcharge. But essentially, yeah, my castle really struggling to put out the firepower into the advancing forces. They are thinned out a little bit, so I think we're both sweating at this point. Both of us are thinking we don't have the resources that we would like to have going into turn 3. So we'll have to see how it goes after Nergal turn 3. So it's looking a bit like the initial heavy blow for blow start to this battle has blunted both sides' ability to put out some damage output. Now, of course, these guys, some of the nastiest things that Lewis has in his army. And sort of over the course of the couple of years that Lewis has been using Death Guard for 8th edition, because he was always a hardcore, full-on orc player. Anything green, he's there. But Death Guard have very much been a project of love for Lewis. As you can see, so many converted models, so many beautifully painted models, if we just take a second to look at them all. But yeah, essentially, he always sort of waxes and wanes with the amount of Death Guard in his list, and at the moment he's got, you know, Death Guard in his list. Sometimes he takes Poxwalkers, zombies, that kind of thing. And I hate Death Guard. I'm really struggling. I hate these guys. And they did their usual, which is to rapid fire into one of my vehicles and just melted the Librarian Dreadnought. Just killed him straight out. But then other shooting fell flat. He moved forward with this guy. He got loads of hits. He got 8 hits, 8 wounds, even though he'd moved, so he's hitting on 3s, but still re-rolling 1s because of the Lord nearby into these guys. But I got a load of saves and only 1 died, which is awesome. Butcher cannons are lethal in every regard apart from their AP is kind of survivable with a lucky roll. And I got that lucky roll well timed there, so that was nice. Havoc launchers fired over to these guys but bounced off. Then the Blight launchers shot up short range into here, killed 2 of my guys. So that was basically it. These guys, without the psychic support buffing them, because Lewis fluffed his psychic phase again. Psychic really is, the psychic warp energy is really being interfered with all this like volcanic activity, I guess. But either way, or maybe Khorne's, you know, Khorne's very strong here. But yeah, essentially, without the psychic support, these guys failed to do any damage, any hits or wounds on my predators. I always like the point where I kill one. I always endeavour to kill one of these second turn. And if you're playing against them, do that. because they get +1 to hit when they're in a squad of 3. So Lewis has gone from hitting on 2s because he's been casting a psychic power to make them hit on +1 to hitting on 4s, and he really felt that difference. -1 to hit because there's only 2 of them, -1 to hit because of no psychic. So the Death Guard, as you can see, have really comfortably taken a strong control of the centre of the board, and their back lines, you know, I'm not going to get anywhere near those. God damn it, I miss my Death Company this battle. But likewise, I'm holding 2 objectives here, and we're competing over 1 here, so it's a very close game. Let's see if my firepower can bring itself to bear at short range on the Nergal stuff. Not that range really matters in this, but still, let's hope it works. So on to Blood Angels, turn 3. So in my turn, Blood Angels turn 3, I decided to run these guys, but only got 1 inch, so they could only get behind this line of sight blocking, and I wanted to hopefully get them behind this chunk here. So Lewis can see one of these guys, this Blight launcher, so if he kills both guys with 1 burst, they'll be dead. Otherwise, if he only kills 1, the other guy will be hidden and near that objective. These guys sprayed bolt of fire into these guys, but everything bounced off. That 2-up projection from the Blight Hole launchers, because that's another thing. They give a 7-inch bubble of cover save, so they're really, really good. So then I fired heavy bolters. I fired 36 shots, is it? No, not 36, 18 shots from my Predators, heavy bolters, into these guys, and Lewis passed every single save. I got, you know, a couple of wounds through with each one, maybe 3 wounds through with each one, but he passed every single save, didn't even need his feel no pain. So really, really good. Death Guard, just so powerful, I think, you know, in my opinion. So then these guys all opened up on to the Contempt to Dread, and left it, and I did decent wound, got 3 wounds through, got a punch through with the first autocannon. I thought, oh, if I can just do that with the others, it'll blow up, because he'd taken 1 wound previously. But unfortunately, I failed to do any wounds with this guy, and did 1 wound through with this guy, so we had 4 wounds left. So I fired 2 last cannons from here, and I declared my missile as well, and slammed into him, got 2 hits, 2 wounds. Lewis fell both, and I did 11 wounds, I think, so just flattened him in 1, could have done him in 1. So these guys were wasted, but doesn't matter, I got there in the end. Should have probably done him first, because then these guys could have shot into them. But there you have it. So killed the Contemptor, which is another kill point, so I think me and Lewis are even on point. That brings me to even, because he did climb slightly ahead when he killed off all my characters. And that's taking into account First Strike and Warlord as well, because I've got First Strike, he's got Warlord. So the Nergal lines, you know, they're still secured this central area here, but the Contemptor's run to add his firepower didn't pay off in the end, so Lewis's firepower is reduced to just 3 models, the same as, and I'm on 4. So am I creeping slightly in the lead in the heavy support area? Possibly. But Lewis has those saves, he's really resilient, so maybe it's balanced. So really, really intense game, really, really fun. We're just like laughing away every time we roll the dice. So we'll get into Nergal turn 4, so we're getting into the end phases of the game now. So the Blight Crawlers, I think they're called, oozed forwards. This inexorable wave of plague and pestilence is just taking control of basically all of the battlefield. And he managed to get a great psychic phase off. So these guys are -1 to hit. They were +1 to hit themselves, which put them back onto hitting on 3s. And I think that was it in terms of psychic, wasn't it?
No, they're +1 strength and toughness.
These Marines on here are +1 strength and toughness, making them toughness 6. Then in terms of shooting, he shot with this guy over here, and using a command point, blew up the Dreadnought. Then the Predators were shot at, this Predator was first of all shot at by these guys. They just couldn't get any hits or wounds through, just 2 turns, falling flat on their face. So they did a really good performance first couple of turns, but slowing down now. But the Plasma again did amazing, and just sprayed off into this guy and did 4 wounds with overcharged Plasma. And did you actually shoot your bolt from that guy in the end of them? I don't think you did. Right, go on, shoot bolter.
3s.
Do you get 2 shots?
Reroll ones. No, they moved.
Oh, okay. So 1 hit.
Hits. 4s.
No wounds.
No wounds.
So yeah, he declared a bolter against those guys. So all in all, he managed to blow up my dreadnought, and he's exposed himself. But this prince is getting ready to come into work. He's not flying, so he's got to work his way all the way around here to get to my predators. But yeah, it's getting tight, as we said, really tight. We'll see what the Blood Angels can do in their turn 4. So the Blood Angels in their turn 4 engaged engines on the Predator on the right here and pushed forward 12 inches. He had to move out 4, I think, and then drive the 8 inches forward or something like that. So he's close to that objective. He's not on it, but he's close. These two held fast, as did my infantry and everything else. Rapid fired with my infantry into these guys, but all the shots bounced off. Fired both my captain and lieutenant at the Plague Marines with the plasma, but again, both bounced off. Lewis was just amazing with his saves. These guys just hid out of line of sight, and then I shot 1 Predator into the plasma guys. Everything. 6 heavy bolters, and I generated 5 shots in the autocannon. Made every single 3-up save. Then you were still within 3-up, 6 inches there, yeah. Oh yeah, because you ran them forward as well. So these guys with that 7-inch bubble of cover are amazing. Make those Death Guard 2-up save. The next guy fired in with everything and just flattened them both with his autocannon. Didn't even need to fire his heavy bolter. Lewis failed a couple of saves. 3 damage each. They both made 2 feel no pains each, but they died. So blooming end of the plasma death squad. These guys, I then fired my final press. I really ummed and ahed because I really wanted to shoot these guys, but I thought, you know what, I've committed now. I absolutely have to kill off his infantry. I've decided to go in the kill his infantry off direction, so I've got to finish what I've started. But unfortunately, again, Lewis's saves were exemplary, and he only lost 1 out of 2 Blight launchers from another Predator shooting at full capacity with full character support. So it's been a slog killing these blooming Nergal, but he is really low on infantry now, and I'm racking up a few more kill points. So we'll just have to hope that these guys fuck up for 3 turns on the row, basically. So we're going into it's really close game, really close game. This guy hasn't got wings, in case you hadn't already guessed and I hadn't mentioned it, which is why he's been moving so slow. So he is threatening these guys, but I pre-measured it, we worked it out. Even after his movement, it'll be a 10-inch charge from them, was it? So, and he'll have to move these guys out of the way. They don't care about movement for assault weapons or heavy weapons or anything like that. So he's going to have to hope that these guys do some shooting and then bring his prince in on a hopefully 6th turn. But at the moment I'm holding this objective. I've got these guys ready to run out and hold that objective. This objective's all to play for. He's got his Blight Haulers, or whatever they're called. I've got the Predator there. And Lewis is just within 3 inches bubble of that objective. Obviously he's got these guys on the back, so it's just so close. I think it's going to come down to kill points. But we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. So it's down to Death Guard, turn 5. So the Blight Crawlers crawled forward. These aren't Blight Crawlers, are they? I keep calling them that.
Myphitic Blight Crawlers.
Myphitic Blight Crawlers. Oh, wicked. I've been getting it right. Managed to crawl. Oh, Haulers. Blight Haulers. Hauled their asses to within 1 inch of this guy. Managed to make contact with him, so they can't pass through that wall. We sort of declared you can't move through them. But he can get me because I'm sat on top of it. So then this guy moved forward again, but just out of reasonable charge range, and these guys could do that job anyway of locking him up. These guys just inched forward a little bit, so the bolter guy is still on that objective, and they managed to rapid fire plasma into this squad and wipe them out. And then this guy fired off and he missed. He failed to wound with anything, which is the first failure. He's been hit and wounded with everything all game, so that's his fit. We'll let him off that. He's done really well. He's probably just reloading or something, or reloaded in a hurry and fired. And so the final thing was this guy ran. He moved and advanced over here, popped off 2 shots, but again, unlike in previous turns where this guy's been killing a couple every turn, he failed to do any wounds through to those guys. So he failed to do any hits, didn't he? So we've got two little troop choices fighting over this objective. I've been shot off that objective. These two, I forgot to say, melted this tank and blew him up. So my dash for that objective has been foiled. So Lewis is currently holding 2. I'm currently holding 1. I presume Lewis is ahead on kill points, but it's really hard to say at this point, and it'll be more fun to work it out at the end. So let's find out what Blood Angels do in their turn 5 and possibly the last turn of the game. So at the end of the Blood Angels' turn, they've had to get their hands dirty. So I pulled out with this Predator because he was locked up, he couldn't shoot anyway, well within 3 of that objective. My characters considered charging into here, but then I just heroically intervened into here. I actually forgot I could do that with my lieutenant, took 2 wounds in Overwatch, and I was like, wait, why am I charging? I'll heroically intervene at the end of the combat phase. So I heroically intervened with my captain into there. Then I shot with the unengaged Predator, and I was like, this has got to be my turn to kill those Death Guard. And I committed, fired everything into the Death Guard. There's 3 men here, and I didn't even need the heavy bolters this time. Lewis just did bad on his armor saves, and just all 3 just got flattened. Bam, 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 3 autocannon shots, Predator autocannon. So that took Lewis off this objective. So he is currently only on 1 objective with these guys back here, because I'm on this objective and I'm on this objective, and then I've got 2 guys down here failed a crack grenade and bolter fire, and I decided not to shoot this guy. And I was going to charge him, but then I thought, if I get unlucky and he gets lucky, he'll kill one of mine and be contesting. He probably won't kill both, but be contesting that objective. Whereas currently, I have 2 guys to his 1, both objectives secured, so I'm holding that objective. So I thought, make him come to me. Although he could do it with his shooting, you know, he's on his own now. You know, I figured that was the best option in balanced terms. These guys managed to get. I did put a couple of wounds on him, didn't I, with the captain? Was it 2 or 3 wounds?
2 wounds.
So he's taken 5 wounds now, the other one's on full health. And the Prince, Lewis's Warlord, is there. Now these are Blood Angels characters, they're perfectly capable of fighting a Prince. So Lewis has got to decide whether he wants to come and mess these guys up, or maybe try and run towards this objective if the game continues. So Lewis is going to roll the dice on camera now. As it stands, it's 2 objectives to 1, we haven't calculated kill points. And it is a 6. So the game will continue, giving Lewis a chance to win on objectives and quite possibly kill points as well. So we'll carry on to a 6th turn. As you can see, resources are very scarce on both sides. But I fortunately have this wall between me and Lewis's forces, so he can't get me with these guys. But you know, we're saying models that can walk can get across it, so it's like sort of it's terrain whilst you're on it. It's almost like just a barricade, a berm, so to speak. So the Prince will be able to get me, but he definitely won't be able to get this guy. This guy's safe. So it's just what can happen in the 6th turn for Death Guard. God damn it, this is a tight game, man. So the Death Guard have had their turn 6 now. We couldn't resist counting up points before we carried on with the 6th turn, just to see where we would have been. And the Blood Angels were 2 points ahead. The Death Guard had an extra kill, but the Blood Angels had the Death Guard had 1 extra kill, or it was the same kills, but basically it ended up, because I was holding 2 objectives and he was holding 1, because I'd shot him off that one, that I was 2 points ahead. But now I honestly can't see a way out for the Blood Angels. So because what Lewis has done is, instead of carrying on with his Demon Prince over to here, he was between contesting this objective / attacking this tank, or just running over and securing this objective and leaving his Blight Haulers in the way. And that's what he opted for in the end, which is definitely the right choice. Because he's got a Blight Hauler, he's got on 8 wounds, and a Blight Hauler on Hauler on 2 wounds. So he's got 10 wounds there, like Demon saves, 3 up armor, 5 up feel no pain. So they're really tough. And I've got my 2 Predators here. I'd ideally use the 2 Predators to kill these guys and shoot that guy off the objective, and that's what I'm going to try and do. It's going to be really, really tight, because basically Lewis has 3 objectives, very secure, and I only have 1. And this fight continues. A really, really exciting fight over here. The Blight shot failed to do any wounds. He did wounds and I passed both armor saves. Then we went into combat, but we didn't do any damage against each other. So really, really close game. So we're going into Blood Angels turn 6 and probably, possibly the last turn of. So the Blood Angels just did not get what they needed or even close. So the first Predator unloaded, he's hitting on 5, so only got 2 wounds left into these guys. Didn't get a single wound. He only generated 2 shots on the autocannon and all his heavy bolter shots. This guy then desperately slung some more lead, high velocity, into the Blight Haulers, but they again just shrugged off every single armor save they had to take. I did no wounds this turn, apart from in glorious combat, because over here the Blood Angel struck and Lewis failed his armor save and then failed his Feel No Pain. So even with 3 attacks, I just managed to secure that objective. So I have 2 objectives secured. My captain decides to pull out here so these guys could shoot. I was just desperately hoping that perhaps my heavy bolters from the first burst would kill that guy, or my autocannon would kill that guy, do some damage to this guy, and then that guy would finish him off. And if it went on to turn 7, I'd be able to take on that guy and knock Lewis off an objective. But it doesn't look like that's going to be possible. So it looks like Lewis is going to win, but we'll roll that dice to see if the game continues. And it is a 1. So I believe Lewis wins by about 4 points there. He's got behind enemy lines, or line breaker it's called. I only have 4 units left to his sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think that means that I'm essentially a couple of kill points behind there in terms of units at the start of the game. And so in terms of objectives, I've got 2 and Lewis has 3. So I believe Lewis is ahead by about 5 points. So it is a Death Guard victory, another loss for the Blood Angels. All these experimental lists are not doing them very well so far. Predators and Dreadnoughts, they are just not combining together to get me victory. They get close, but then they just can't hold on in the last moments if the game continues. They're great at 5 turns, but 6 or 7 turns, they fall flat on their face. They just get overwhelmed eventually. But that's right, because essentially Blood Angels, they shouldn't be castling up. I shouldn't have been defending a castle at all. That's not the Blood Angels way. If you want to do that, it should be Ultramarines or Imperial Fists. If I want to be defensive, something like that. So it's time to get out some hardcore assault and probably leave the Dreadnoughts at home in the next bat rep, because we need to claim some honour for Sanguinius. So thank you very much, Lewis, for your time. It's been a really exciting bat rep. Thank you guys at home for watching. This has been the Schola Progenium. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.